Next one.
My name is Paul Heller. I'm the editor-in-chief of Blue Heron Book Works. And today I'm interviewing Miss Fanny Barry, who wrote a 600-page memoir called Map of Life and Beauty. In this memoir, Fanny lays out a change she made in her life about a decade ago that was a complete alteration in everything she'd done before. And this book lets you know how it played out for her. I'm not going to tell you anything more than that. This is a wonderful memoir. You should read it. So, what's your book about?
The book is about when I left my stable engineering career and moved to the jungle in Tulum, Mexico to start a new life, and I followed my heart, followed my dream, and finally made it happen.
What triggered your move? There must have been an incident.
Well,
What was it?
First I had breast cancer.
Ah,
I think that just about everyone who's had a near-death experience or has had to come face-to-face with their mortality starts to re-examine their life. And as part of my recuperation, I went to Tulum, and some people might say that was a mistake, but that's where I found beauty again in my life. I felt good there for the first time in a very long time, and that's where everything started to change for me.
and you've been there since...
I moved full-time 2006, but I first discovered Tulum in 2004.
When did you decide to write a memoir about it?
I started, I think, as my life started to unfold in that, what was it sometimes sort of a Wild West environment, kind of crazy, pretty savage. I started to think to myself, and people started to tell me, your life is really interesting. All of a sudden I went from boring mid-level manager to everybody thought, wow, you're so strong and cool. And I had been journaling a lot through my cancer experiences. I wrote 3 books based on my cancer experiences, and so I was in the habit of writing every day and journaling my experiences. And when I took a moment to look back on what I had written, it was like, wow, this is the stuff of movies.
Tell me a little bit about when you started writing this book.
I started writing this book the book itself probably 2 years after I was into building my house and bringing breast cancer survivors there. Because that was my plan, to build 3 little houses to host cancer survivors, to help them feel what I felt in Tulum, which was absolutely magic energy that made me feel alive and somebody who wanted to stay alive. And but before that I had been writing, I had been journaling and writing my experiences. I wrote 3 books for breast cancer survivors. Just as I was moving to Tulum, we were publishing those. And so basically 2 years, and it took me about 6 years to finish this epic
600-page epic.
Exactly.
Yeah, and of course it'll be ongoing. I'm sure you have more to say.
I have more to say. I have more to say. It doesn't stop, thank goodness.
What was the hardest thing about writing a memoir? Because memoirs are deeply personal. You're not writing fiction. Tell me a little bit about that.
Coming face to face with the things you've done, and really looking at it as you. We were, Bathsheba and I, my publisher, we were at a memoir writing workshop the other day, and people asked, what's a key to trying to get it all out? And I said the third person, because sometimes it's so hard to write in the first person and accept that you actually made these mistakes and moved through them. And it's, it's like looking in a mirror, really. It's scrutiny.
It's a good thing to do that because it keeps you honest, right?
It keeps you honest and it helps you
forces you to
figure
be
things
honest,
out.
right?
And what I found, because it was a little frightening publishing, for many different reasons, when you read the memoir, you'll find out. You've read it, you know all my story. But it's interesting just to look at yourself, but it's also helpful to other people. I've had several people write to me and say, you helped me with things that I've gone through as well. I love you.
So, I would think that if you're being perfectly honest, and a lot of people were involved in your circle when you were making these changes, you probably made some enemies. Because people don't want to know what you think of them. They want you to think of them
No, that's the other
what
thing.
they think of themselves.
One thing is expressing what you did to yourself, and then another thing is expressing how you feel about what other people did or did not do while you were in this pretty painful place, or pretty rapidly changing place. So yeah, some people got angry, some people I think got sad, some people got hurt. And I'm still processing what I got from their feelings, but there's a point where you just have to say to yourself, this is it,
Right.
and I'm putting it out there because I need to. It's not something, I don't think a person always writes a memoir just to publish a book. It's something that comes from within, and it's an incredible journey that you want to share for whatever reason.
Well, I think it kind of makes you heroic, because a lot of people spend their lives not wanting to face up to certain realities, and you took it there.
Yeah. Well, there's, that quote, the unexamined life is not worth living.
Yeah, that's right.
And I tend, as a writer and an artist, I tend to examine things, and through this process I was constantly wondering, what am I doing? But still feeling the pull, living this sort of moving from my basic instincts. And part of it is moving to survive on many levels, moving to survive, to find a purpose in my life after having cancer and losing or changing my job and losing, my life as I knew it. And then moving from this instinct, if you want to feel good, here you go, and where are you going to die? And many times I look back and I really think that I thought I would die in Tulum. And I didn't, and this is nice.
Oh,
it's
that's
nice
funny.
to
Yeah.
find your life in such an organic way.
So what are you up to now? What are you doing?
I just opened a yoga studio, which was my dream before I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I got certified the day before, or 2 days before I went for surgery. I was certified to teach yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And it had always been my dream to open a yoga studio, and now I have it. I sold my little places with a lot of, not always comfort, but I'm glad I sold. I sold those places and moved on, and it was time to move on, and now I've built a yoga studio with my partner, Alex Alvarez. And he has a dive shop, I have a yoga studio, and we have 4 lovely apartments that people can come and stay and practice yoga and write, whatever they want to do. But it's a great dream come true.
So are you going to write, is this going to be an ongoing memoir? Are you going to write more?
Well, I'm working on part 2 because I decided after I think I submitted almost 900 pages. People say, didn't you have an editor? And I say, yes, I did. I had a very good one, and we cut it down. But I'm working on what happens after you decide to make a stand and say no to somebody. What happens? How do you get through that transition period before that person, or you're in your second part of your life?
Well, you've done something extraordinary. You've cut your teeth, you've written a book. A lot of people dream about writing books, but they can't bring themselves to do it. Do you have any kernels of wisdom, pieces of advice for people who would like to write a memoir?
I took my first creative writing class was when I was 18 at a state college, and I remember this professor. I don't remember his name. I remember his face a little bit, and he just said, no matter what you do, keep writing. Just keep writing. If you think it's crap, just keep writing. And that was the advice that Bathsheba and I gave to people wanting to write a memoir. Just keep writing, and don't censor yourself, don't judge, just keep going. So that's where I am.
So that's what you're going to do.
Keeping writing.
Yeah. Is it going to be
Because it's not really a choice for a writer. I took a break and I felt blocked when we published, and I was talking to Bathsheba about it because she's my muse, and I said, I lash out, I'm so angry. She's like, of course, because you're not writing, you're going to explode if you don't write. And so it's like you just have to get it out.
Right.
And it needs to be on the page, for me anyway. I don't know about other people, but for me it needs to be on the page, and I need to look at it and analyze it, and that's where I go.
Fanny Barry. She talked the talk and she walked the walk. Map of Life and Beauty. Dive into it and find out about a very extraordinary person.